So I'll give a little bit of background about myself. These are the two organizations that I run and operate, but a little bit of history before myself, how I got into this. I got into business consulting kind of out of, like, I guess a pure accident, really. I worked for two international franchise companies at the time, and so I was able to work with businesses within that company structure and help them be more profitable and successful. And a lot of those different business owners also owned other businesses. So what ended up happening, just out of happenstance, is they're like, we like you, you're doing a great job here for us, can you help me with this other business on the side? And so I really kind of fell into it by mistake. And as I got more and more disgruntled with the corporate world, the last job that I had, I was an executive for H&R Block. You can imagine how disgruntled I was working for them at times. No pun intended, right, for the tax folks in the room. But I was able to just make a break from that and thought, well, let's do some consulting on the side. Let's work with the people that I've worked with in the past and some of the business owners that they know while I look for another job. And that was about 7 years ago, or 7.5 years ago, and I've never looked back. So in the meantime, I've created kind of a second business that I'll talk about in a minute. My main business is devoted business development. And you hear things like, ooh, he's a business consultant. I actually never claimed to be that. And I'll explain what that means in a minute. You hear, oh, well, there's a business coach. I never claimed to be that either, and that really even is kind of more of a dirty word out there, I think, in business. And then you hear business development or marketing type people. I believe that my company and myself are the perfect hybrid of those three things. And what I mean by that is there are different strengths that a consultant and a coach each bring. A coach can help you and motivate you and kind of give you some rah stuff, and they're typically an expert in one area, and they're going to teach you through that area. A business consultant is more about the strategy and the execution of that strategy while still holding you accountable, similar to what a coach would do. And a business development, unlike a marketing firm, is going to help you understand how your business can grow. Sometimes you can grow your business and make more profit without spending any money on advertising or marketing. Did you guys know that? Do you believe that? We have never, and I say this, it's on our website, you can hold me to it, we have never worked with a business where we couldn't help them make more money or save more money or both. And I suspect that it will always be that way, okay? So that's a little bit about devoted business development. When people ask what I do, I say I help businesses be more profitable, more successful by removing the challenges they have in their business, okay? The other thing that I do, because I believe in helping small business, is I created the Small Business Advisory Board of Minnesota. In that, there are professionals like Larry, who's sitting in the front seat here, that are CPAs, business attorneys, business brokers, all kinds of different professions that are experts in their field, and we provide a free lunch and learn every single month. And in that lunch and learn, the topic varies. There's some information on the back if you'd like to pick up and talk about the schedule back there. But most importantly, on the back side of that, there's 40 minutes where you guys as business owners can ask us a question about what might be troubling you or plaguing you within your business. So how often do you get to ask an attorney a question for free? Not very often, right? It doesn't happen very often. So that is a place that you can do that. So those are the two businesses that I operate and work under. And when I got asked to do this, I was pretty excited. I hadn't been asked to speak here before, and one of the reasons I was excited is because about 75% of the businesses we work with are in chaos. So think about that for a minute. 75% of our customers coming to us are struggling to make money, or they're in literally utter chaos. Well, how can that be, right? There's a lot of resources out there, there's a lot of things that can happen, but they're in chaos. Well, it happens because they don't have a proper success plan, and even if they do have a plan, if you read our article in the Minnesota Business, or New Business Minnesota, we talked about what happens when you get punched in the face, right? Your plan sometimes goes like this instead of a straight line, okay? So you have to be able to adapt to that. So what I want to talk about a little bit, and I'm going to bring this back around why I want to discuss this, but what causes business failure? That's what I'm going to talk about here today, and I'm going to tie it all together for you. Well, what does Forbes say? Let's not talk about what Vernon says. Let's see what Forbes says. As high as 90% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. That was from a recent December 2016 publication. 9 out of 10. Okay? That's pretty high. I don't care how you twist that number, even if it's 7 or 8 out of 10, because statistics, you can twist them any way you want, right? I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I can talk a lot about our win-loss total. It's still a bad season, right? 90% is not a good number, and there's a lot of reasons for that, okay? Roughly 70% of those, and this is what I never understood when I was consulting on the side until I saw it happen firsthand. 70% of those fail while they're in a growth phase. Think about that for a minute. How can that happen? Well, you heard what Tom said, right? I'm making more money, but I have less to show for it, okay? That floored me because I could never understand that. You work so hard to get to that growth phase from a startup, and then you fail. It's crazy. As many as 90% of businesses do not have a written business plan or strategy in place, and those that do lack the thorough planning for proper growth, people development, catastrophe planning, and budgeting. That's interesting. I probably couldn't have summed that up better myself. So what do we say? What do we see when we're in businesses, and what do I say why businesses fail? Okay? This is the biggest one. Okay? You don't know what you don't know when it comes to being a business owner. Okay? You may be the best at what you are if you're let's say you're a general contractor and you're working for a home builder forever, and you know everything about it, you think, and you're going to go out and start your own business. You don't know what it takes necessarily to be a great business owner. You know how to be an operator, okay? Experts say that there are 11 traits of successful entrepreneurs. So that's us that started a business, right? There's 11 traits of that, okay? And then we can list those later if we want. They also say there are 11 traits of successful business operators. These are the people that run your business, like a CEO or a COO. Okay, do you understand the difference? Okay, here's the kicker. Only 2 of those traits are on both lists. That's a problem if you're a startup business, right? And you're running it yourself and you're the entrepreneur. That's a big reason why businesses fail, because you don't know what you don't know, okay? So you need someone to help guide you, which is why I started the Small Business Advisory Board, because I, quite honestly, as a consultant, could not have been successful in my own business without the support of that group, okay? And neither can most businesses, okay? Can you grab me a water, Brian, from the back? Thank you. So what do you think that means in more detail? And this is the participation time. What do you think that means? Well, there's only 2 traits that carry over, but most small businesses start with the same guy that started it that's running it. Yes?
They may not understand the customer journey.
Absolutely. That's a big one. Okay, what else?
Can't see the forest through the trees half the time.
Yeah, you're stuck like this, right? You're in the battle. Thanks, Brian. What else?
Moving too fast.
Growing too fast. That is a huge one. That is a big problem. Growing too fast is a big issue, and we're going to talk about that. That's one of the other pitfalls why businesses fail. Okay? You need someone to fill in the gaps for what you're not strong at, okay? So because you're a great operator does not mean you know how to do payroll, you're not a tax accountant, you're not a business attorney, and all those other pitfalls that businesses fall into, right? Okay? No detailed growth plan. So whenever we do a business plan, one of the first things we drill down to is understand what their long-term expectations are. And we ask them, you're going to be 2 employees now, you want to be 20 employees. And we help them nail down that growth plan, okay? Why do you think that's important? This is the participation time again. Because when is the proper way to grow your business, and when is the right time? If I asked 100 of you, you'd have 100 different answers, right? That's the reason, okay? And I can't give you a solid answer that fits everybody cookie cutter, okay? You have to know the business and understand the business model, and we call it, and I got to come up with a better name for this. You guys can help me name it, and I'll give you some credit for it if you want. I call it the definition of the business model. How does the business make money? How does it spend money? And what do you do with the profits afterwards? If you can't clearly define that, you will never be able to define when your business should grow and expand and when you should add staff. Okay? So it's very important. And when do you think most businesses grow? When do you think they advance and add staff and expand?
Too soon.
That's the right answer, but when do you think they just come up with the idea to do it?
They start getting more, there's more income than expenses.
Yeah, they start making a profit, right? Now this is great, I'm making a profit, right? What else? You won't believe the answer that I get all the time. Someone told them to. Someone said you should expand. I'm not kidding. I don't make this stuff up. I hear this stuff every day. Someone told them they should. Or even worse, they bought a franchise and they bought 5 franchise rights, right? And they only had 1 open, and even though that 1 is failing, they opened 4 more because they had to. They didn't want to get in trouble with the franchisor, right? That's crazy, but it happens because they don't know how to navigate through those pitfalls. Okay, that's why you need a professional of some sort to help you through that. Okay? Oh, I want to go back to one more thing on this. Here's another issue. We work with, you think about, name an industry that what used to be great 10 years ago and is failing now. Anybody have one? Blockbuster's a good one, right? What happened with Blockbuster? We were just talking about this the other day. What happened with Blockbuster? Netflix happened, right? So they didn't understand what was coming down in the marketplace, correct? They should have owned Netflix before Netflix happened. But they didn't have the foresight to do that, okay? We work with a lot of, and it's going to happen if you're a brewery owner, you should talk to me. I don't mean to offend your industry. Hopefully you're not. But if you're a brewery owner, it's coming too for you guys, okay? So we work with a lot of pawn shops right now, pawn and retail shops. So like Pawn America here in the Twin Cities, that's they're not our client, but that's one of our biggest industries that we work in, okay? And 12, 13, 15 years ago, they couldn't make enough money. They were trying to figure out how do we bury this money so the government doesn't get enough to pay taxes on it. Now they're dying. They're closing at a rapid rate. What happened?
eBay.
Craigslist, eBay, Amazon. Amazon sold 40% of the online stuff over Black Friday. Can you believe that? Okay. Do you think that cuts into their profit? Right? Did they know that was coming? They should have. What happened to the price of gold if you've paid attention to it in the last 10 years? It's settled down to a more normal number, right? They should have known that was happening. But what else did they do that restaurant owners and everybody else do? When you have one successful location, you're making a bunch of money, you open a second one. How do you open that second one? You take half the staff, right? Common sense would tell you take half the staff from the first one, put it in the second one, and now your cash cow is now diluted, right? You diluted the talent pool within that deal. And they forgot how to run their business, buy low and sell high. And it's killing them all across the United States, okay? Know when to grow and have a plan to do that so that you don't grow yourself into extinction, okay? Pricing strategy, not perfect. I've never heard anybody else talk about pricing strategy besides myself. Maybe I'm crazy. Why is pricing important? Anybody? Competition? Okay.
It's part of the perception of the individual buyer.
Very much perception, right? So there are liquor companies that fight each other over being the highest priced bottle of wine and booze in the liquor store. Did you know that? And it has not hurt their sales. Okay? So when you set your price low, it's a lot higher to make it go high, correct? Agree or disagree? Very important, right? You have to understand that. Also, if you're in production, if you're creating t-shirts, you're printing t-shirts, right? And you sell every t-shirt for $10 and you make a profit of $4, great, right? You're doing well. Your net profit's $4 on a t-shirt. What happens when you double your staff? What happens when you buy a larger facility? What happens when you take out a loan to expand and have to buy items up front to handle the large orders that are coming in? Are you covering your overhead? No one ever thinks about that, but it will bankrupt you, and it'll be one of the reasons why businesses fail and have no cash flow as they grow and expand. Does that make sense? This is a big one. Pay attention to this one. It's a very big one. Lack of funds and capital. Okay, this is a huge one. What causes lack of funds? Overspending. Who said that? Get her a Snickers bar or something, please. Overspending. Nobody ever says that. That's perfect. I like that. What else? Receivables. What else? We'll hook you up later. Inventory? Yep. What else? Yeah, he said receivables. What else?
Low profits.
There's another big one.
Poor credit.
Poor credit can be one. Who said? You say human capital? Yeah. So if you have bad operations because you took one location and went into two and your operations got worse, does that affect your profitability and your cash flow? Absolutely. So if you don't have that people development plan and that training plan, you got issues. One of the first things we look at is when we come in to provide our clients with a return on investment is how are they spending money, specifically in marketing and advertising, and is it providing return on investment? Okay? How are their operations? Are they wasteful spending? Do they even know what they're spending money on? Because I cannot even tell you how many times they don't have a clue of what they're spending money on as they continue to grow. Because some employee or somebody says you should add this service or add this, and they do. And they don't know. They're not mindful of their spending. Okay? It's a big one. Wasteful and unadvised spending, especially in marketing and advertising. This is a big one. Okay? What percentage of advertising do you think actually provides, according to studies, a return on investment? Less than half, Larry says. He's in a marketing world a little bit. Anybody else? 10%. 10% is close.
80%.
So as much as 80% of dollars spent on marketing do not provide a return on an investment. Okay? Yes?
Does that include short-term and long-term?
Yes. How can that be? Yes.
Because maybe they don't like properly track the customers, like this those came from a newspaper or print-based, those came from the internet, those came from that channel, those came from the campus, and people do not track where the customers come from.
That could be, but they're talking in general. This was some marketing. It's a couple years old, this statistic, but maybe a year and a half old. But what they're saying is it's not driving business to you, okay? So I'll give you an example. One of our clients is in the pawn industry, was still advertising on billboards and in the phone book. Okay? That's an example. That's an extreme example, but it's there. Okay? There's a lot of that I see. You cannot believe what we cut out of a marketing budget when we work with clients. Okay? If you have a marketing budget to spend, you better have your key demographic defined, know where they are and what they're doing so that you can reach them. So if they're, caught within radio or, direct mail or SEO through the internet because they're searching for you, you better know that. And you better know what message, what we call the business value proposition, to get a hold of them to make them want to come in for a call to action into your business. If you don't have that, every penny you spend on marketing is wasted. And there's a lot of stuff you can do for free. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Here's what I did to start my firm. I had clients on the side that I worked with, both in the other company in H&R